Hi everyone, welcome humans. So in the previous video, I talked about how we were going to talk about more serious topics in regards to sex and sexuality. And I like to approach my work with a lot of playfulness and humor because it helps people to feel, sometimes people to feel more relaxed and engage with the topic, and we can begin to break down taboos that have been around for centuries. And we'll go into the history of sex and how different cultures and different times in history sex was viewed. And it hasn't always been repressive. For this next video series, I want to underscore the importance of what sex therapy does and the seriousness of it and how it can help you if you need it as an additional support. While like I said, I like to have a sense of humor about things, sometimes the experience with sex can be very traumatizing, detrimental, and really impact people's lives in a negative way. And I want to take that seriously. It's almost like you can't have pleasure, not without pain. I don't like that necessarily, but it's like I can appropriately advocate for people to go out and have pleasure without also addressing the ramifications when things don't go well or when people are hurt by the same thing. And so that's what the next couple of videos will entail. And of course, if you have questions, feel free to just reach out to me or comment, because there's always a place to have a conversation and to explore. And oftentimes people feel very alone in their experience. And the reality is we're not alone. Sometimes we have common shared experiences. You just don't know that someone else has that experience out there. That's why support groups are so good and very helpful in the healing process for so many different things. So come along with me on what sex therapy is and how it can transform your life. So sex therapy is one of those things that can truly change the game of your confidence when it comes to intimacy and overall relationship vibes. And one thing I want to definitely underscore is you do not have to be in crisis to seek sex therapy out. Actually, I want to do that for all therapy. People think of therapy as something you do when you're in crisis or you're at the end of a relationship or a problem. And ideally, you want to be working on these skills continuously. And while you may not need therapy all the time, it could be helpful to engage with therapy on a more consistent basis so that when crises arise, you have tools already and it's not a matter of teaching you tools when you're in crisis. It's like reminding you of the tools that you've been working on when you're not in crisis. And the same goes for sex therapy. So I like to think of sex therapy as a personal trainer for your relationship. But instead of squats, we're talking about communication, vulnerability, and connection. So kind of like squats, but with your feelings. Okay, so exactly what is sex therapy? Great question. Well, it's a form of therapy where a trained licensed professional, like me, helps individuals and couples or multi-partner groups explore, understand, and work through challenges in their sexual lives. And note, it's not just about, getting into the mood. So a lot of people will say, I don't need sex therapy because I have no problem getting in the mood. Like, okay. It's more about understanding the emotional, psychological, and relational factors that shape your sexual experience. It's kind of more of an internal exploration or external exploration with yourself and other people. So imagine you're cooking a fancy dinner, but your oven's broken. No matter how hard you try, your souffle will never rise. Sex therapy is like calling in the expert repair person who knows how to get the oven working again. It helps you figure out what's not working, why it's not working, and how to fix it. So your relationship can rise to its full potential. The jokes keep coming. Corny, yes, but they keep coming. So what are some common reasons people seek sex therapy? Number one is performance anxiety. Feeling like you need to perform like an Olympic athlete in bed? No worries. Sex therapy can help ease pressure. You're not auditioning for the role of the world's greatest lover. You're human, and humans need a little support sometimes. Additionally, We want to transform your relationship to sex to one of performance, right? Like, who are you performing for? To one of exploration and fun and play. And the minute that it's not fun and it's not play is when it needs to stop. And play can mean different things to different people, because some people like things that appear painful as play. So that's another conversation about kink and all the many different avenues of kink, but we're not there yet. Then you have low libido. And anybody can experience low libido. It's a common misconception that women experience low libido versus men. That's actually not accurate. I just think the things that drive people can be different, and how people access their desire can be different. And so it may look like low desire on the outside, but it can really be a whole bunch of other things that are coming into the situation that is producing low libido. But that happens for everyone, for every human. It's just a matter of talking to each human and figuring out how they tick in this department. Sometimes life gets in the way, right? And there's stress, there's work, there's kids, the weather, climate change, a global pandemic. If your desire feels like it's on vacation, sex therapy can help reignite that spark and figure out what's causing the dip. Another thing to note too is sometimes people don't want to go back to their old ideas of how they were as a sexual being, and that's okay too. It's really not about recreating the past so much as it is you coming to terms with what you would like in the present and having the skill set to develop what you would like in the future. So communication struggles, that is again probably an obvious one when people come to sex therapy, or when people think of sex therapy or couples work, they think about like communication, and communication is really, really, really big. It can block a lot of people, and when you look at it in the realm of sex and sexuality, it's talking about consent and boundaries and what you like and what you like to explore or what you don't want to explore. Sometimes I get couples where one person really wants to explore one thing and the other person does not. And that's okay. In a relationship that is loving and free, no one's gonna hold you to any activity. They will respect your boundaries, and they're not going to seek therapy out simply so that they can infringe on your boundaries or what you want. Maybe you can work on a compromise depending on what it is that person likes or wants to experience, or maybe it is someone acknowledging like, this is one thing within our relationship that we don't want to do, or that isn't going to be, and I love this person enough to understand that, realize that, and honor their feelings around it. So sex therapy is never about asking someone to change for you, asking someone to do things that they don't want to do, asking someone to engage in activities that are uncomfortable for them. Sex therapy is not going to be like that at all. It's about coming to a common ground and respecting each other's personal autonomy within the process of that common ground. So saying like, yeah, I might like this one sexual act, but if it makes my partner uncomfortable, I'm more invested in the relationship than having the sexual act performed. And sex therapy helps with awkward conversations, right? There are a lot of awkward conversations around things like that, because sometimes people don't want to disappoint their partner, or they don't want to lose the relationship, and so there's a feeling of needing to have to be a part of this process, or needing to have to engage in this way. And I'm here to tell you that any healthy, solid relationship will never ask, or partner will never ask you to engage in something that makes you uncomfortable. They just will feel like it's not that big of a deal. The relationship is a better investment than one small thing. If it's a big thing for them, that's a different issue, and often that could require people being honest about, I really need this in my life. And if this is a relationship in which that can't happen, then they have to be honest about that, and that may mean ending the relationship altogether. And then we have emotional disconnect. We are in this world, there's so much going on, and our attention is all over the place. And you can sometimes feel physically close to someone, but really emotionally distant from them. A lot of people sometimes live with a partner, and there are aspects of their life that they share together, but that emotional piece either hasn't evolved or hasn't been invested in, or sometimes what often happens is people become complacent, or they think they already know. And that, I talk about this all the time in therapy. Stop mind reading, because we can't assume that we already know who our partner is. Ideally, people are changing in micro movements constantly throughout their life. Of course, at different speeds. Some people will change faster, some people way slower. And if you just assume that you think you know who your partner is and will be forever over the course of their lifespan, that's a really, well, one, it's kind of a braggadocious idea, right? Like, I know who you're going to be forever. Like, most people don't even know who they're going to be forever. You don't even know who you're going to be forever. You don't know the world is going to change. You will change. But more importantly, it's a idea about your partner that is going to make it harder to continue to emotionally invest in someone, because as they grow and it doesn't allow people to grow and change and become something different, if that is indeed what they're meant to do or what they'd like to do or whatever. You can have an idea of how someone is. When you don't allow people to change and you don't respect people's process of change, sometimes that can lead to being emotionally distant from them. So sex therapy comes in and it helps you reconnect. It helps people understand their needs. It helps people ask their partner about their needs. It helps people understand intimacy better. And more importantly, it keeps the door open for each person to change in ways that the other person has the skill set to be prepared for. Thanks for tuning into today's episode. If you're curious about sex therapy, definitely check out some local therapists or resources. Who knows, your love life may be one conversation away from leveling up. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on all the good stuff that I am bringing. Until next time, take care, love yourself, and remember, the best relationships start with a healthy dose of honesty and maybe a little therapy. Yay! Oh, I also want to give a shout out to Joelle on the Track Productions for making this video sexy as always.